The boy, he was hungry. Now that he can afford it, he wants to have food. Thus, scenes like yesterday's weigh-in.
George Foreman weighs in at 263 pounds.
It was far and away the biggest moment of an otherwise uneventful weigh-in for both of these heavyweight bouts. And now, Adilson Rodrigues, the Brazilian fighter whose biggest public appearance in the United States prior to this was a second-round knockout loss to Evander Holyfield, comes into the ring.
You have to feel that George Foreman allowed himself to be matched with this man because he comes out of his own. George Foreman's central casting. Foreman figures he doesn't take a punch that well, he doesn't punch that well, he doesn't move that well. He's got the whole package, but he has beaten a few recognizable names in the heavyweight division, Bone Crusher Smith and Quick Tillis, which is a lot more than any of Foreman's earlier opponents have done.
A look at Rodrigues' record, and of course you saw his one other large asset preceding him into the ring, the man in his corner, Angelo Dundee, who was the trainer in the opposite corner when George Foreman first lost a professional fight back in Zaire in 1974. What will Adilson Rodrigues have to do against Foreman and vice versa? Ray Leonard's tip of the night.
Oh, Jim, this is elementary. For George Foreman, first and foremost, he must establish that strong jab because it's like a bomb because he's so heavy-handed. And George must use that 263 pounds of flesh to out-hustle and out-muscle Rodrigues. Just beat him to the punch, make it a physical fight. Now, Foreman hates movement because he can't get set. So for Rodrigues, he must make George Foreman work. Make him work every round, every minute of every round, until George is no more. Because this heat here becomes a factor also. A good matchup.
Okay, all right. And we widened the camera lens out just a little bit now to make room for the next man into the ring, 41-year-old George Foreman.
Humming to himself, and he will be greeted by a great cheer. Everybody likes a jolly fat man.
Well, one thing people love about him, you saw right there, the highest knockout percentage in the history of all heavyweight champions, 91.2% knockouts. He had extremely heavy hands in his first incarnation as a heavyweight champ, and that's one element of his game that has not changed a bit. 20 knockouts in 21 fights since the comeback began in 1987.
My eyes now. Okay, I got you.
HBO market research in anticipation of booking this bout demonstrates that George Foreman is, among women in the United States, far and away the most popular boxer. More popular than the man who's number 2 on the list, Sugar Ray Leonard. Sorry, Ray.
Oh, that's okay. I take my hat off to George.
Well, he's been making the talk show circuit for the last 2 years, and I have to think that has something to do with it. And now the crowd responds to George Foreman.
You know, George is a man on a mission. I mean, although he's 40 years or 41 years old, he's out there to win the title back.
I figure Foreman is a sort of combination of William Perry and Nolan Ryan and Roseanne Barr.
And there are people out there that live vicariously through George.
The most remarkable thing about Foreman really is the transformation of his personality and character. He reveled in being another Sonny Liston when he was a young man, a real angry, uncooperative human being.
66 victories, only 2 losses in his career, to Muhammad Ali in Zaire, and 2 years later to Jimmy Young in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It was at that point that he had a religious experience and became a Bible-thumping preacher. In Foreman's corner, one of the greatest figures in the history of the sport.
The great Archie Moore. Foreman said of him that he makes you feel like a green plum in a tree, not ripe to fall off. And of course, the reason for that is Archie Moore fought well into his 40s. A great, great man, an original character. Look at that record. When I was a sports writer in Philadelphia, Jim, he used to write 8, 10-page letters to me from San Diego.
Filled with wit and wisdom. Now he whispers that wit and wisdom to George Foreman, who enters the ring 9 years older than his opponent. And Rodrigues is no spring chicken by heavyweight standards. Foreman with advantages in height. He's 44 pounds heavier and has 7 inches more reach.
And the punch that numbers for whatever they're worth, because these numbers were garnered in a fight that Foreman knocked out Cooney, while Rodrigues was knocked out by Holyfield. But you saw that Rodrigues made a bad mistake against Holyfield. He was too active. He has to be less active in this fight. And there you see their jabs. Rodrigues can throw a jab, and Angelo Dundee wants him to keep throwing the jab and keep moving.
The rules are those of the Nevada State Boxing Commission. 3 judges scoring on the 10-point must. No standing 8 count. You can be saved by the bell in the last round only. By far the most significant rule by our lights for these bouts. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Now let's go up to ring announcer Chuck Hull for the pre-fight introduction.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Caesars Palace Sports Arena, where tonight Don King Productions, in association with Caesars Palace, presents The Road Back, an evening of world-class boxing. These bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Dr. James Nave, chairman. The commissioners at ringside tonight are Dr. Elias Ghanem, Dwayne Ford, Jay Nady, and Luther Mack. The executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission is Chuck Minker. The officials assigned by that commission for the next bout of the evening, the judges will be Bill Graham, Dave Moretti, and Jerry Roth. The timekeeper is Mike Lachella. Counting at the knockdowns, Al Bisick. The attending physicians at ringside, Drs. Flip Pomansky, James Game, and William Berliner. And your referee is Carlos Padilla. This is the co-main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Introducing, in the blue corner, fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, weighing in at 219 pounds, with a professional record of 36 wins, 3 defeats, with 26 KOs. He is the South American heavyweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jose Adilson Rodrigues. And in the blue corner, from Marshall, Texas, weighing an even 263 pounds. His professional record consists of 66 wins, 2 defeats, with 62 KOs. He is a former heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman.
Okay. That robe looks like it could cover Albania.
Okay, Rodrigues, George, you were already given instructions in your respective dressing room. Any question?
None.
Okay, seconds, come out fighting.
George Duke. Well,